For this video, I want to use this example to show some ways that you can use StatCrunch to answer similar problems. So pause the video to read the full problem statement. And we can see that we have this data, which I've already opened over here in StatCrunch. First of all, we need a point estimate for mean and standard deviation, which we can find by coming over here to Stat, Summary Stats, Columns. We'll select the column that the data is in, and we really only need mean and standard deviation, so you could just select those two, or you could go ahead and compute and grab the mean and standard deviation from this chart. In the next part, we're told that because the sample size is small, we must verify that the data come from a population that is normally distributed and does not contain any outliers. So we're going to check these conditions. To do that over here in StatCrunch, we're first going to start with graph QQ plot. This is the same as the normal probability plot. And we'll also select the column where the data is and the correlation statistic. We'll click compute. We can see that that is fairly linear. The look matches what we expect to see, and we get that correlation statistic 0.985. And when we compare that to the critical value, that means come over here to this chart. We have 12 pieces of data in our chart, which means that the critical value is right here, 0.928. And since the correlation is higher than the critical value, it is yes, this is from a population that is normally distributed. So the normal probability plot suggests it is reasonable to conclude that the data come from a population that is normally distributed. And then this last piece asks about box plot, so we can do that really quick over here in graph, box plot, select the column, and compute, and I do not see any outliers. So the box plot does not show at least one outlier. The last part of this problem asks us to construct a 95% confidence interval. So all confidence interval statements start with this phrasing. One can be 95% confident that the population mean diameter, and then ... and from here, we need to get the lower and upper bound. So in StatCrunch, we'll come over here to Stat and T-stats. The reason we're using T-stats is because the sample size is small, the population standard deviation is unknown. Remember, we had a point estimate. We don't know the population standard deviation. And we just checked that the data is normally distributed. We did that in part B. So we'll select T-stat, one sample with data, select our column, select confidence interval, make sure that it's the right level, which it is, and compute. Here I have my lower limit, so I'm just going to copy and paste that over here. And my upper limit, I will copy and paste that over here.